Hello, my name is Sayembe Ali. I'm the country lead for VIFAA Nigeria project, and I'm here talking to the Executive Secretary of FEPSAN.
Hello, my name is Mr. Gideon Negedu, the Executive Secretary of the Fertilizers, Producers and Suppliers Association of Nigeria.
Can you tell me how you got involved in the agri sector as a whole?
I'd always seen the agri space somewhere where one can both be passionate and be profitable. Passionate in the sense that there is a humane angle to what we do in agriculture, and given the kind of space that we are in a country where most of our people rely on farming. I felt that somewhere you could make a lot of impact directly on people, and given that close to 90% of our people are smallholder farmers, a kind of farming practices smallholder farming, I felt that if we brought in innovations, we could help lift a lot of people out of poverty.
In your day-to-day work, how do you get data for planning at this point?
Rumors. There's a lot of rumors. I say that seriously, jokingly and seriously. Unfortunately, we have a paucity of data in Nigeria, right? And it's not that the data is not there. Challenge is that it's not in a set where you can take it in a useful format and use in your planning. So you have to rely on what somebody in the market in Kano is saying, and that is usually subjective, okay? The methodology of acquiring some of this information is usually faulty, and but you have to work with what you have. I'll give you an example. So my space is fertilizers, and it will be very interesting for me to know how much how much fertilizers are used per crop. What we call the fertilizer used by crop data. We don't have that, right? It's a lot of guesswork that you have to do as to how much fertilizer is going into rice farming, how much fertilizer is going to maize farming, and then we can plan, and all that. So you just rely on hearsay, okay? You take snippets here and there. It's not in a package or form that you can use, interact with, and can be useful to you. Yeah.
Can you tell me how you first heard about the VIFAA program?
I first heard about the VIFAA program. Sounded like something that we were very interested in. When you discuss this concept, they sound like
Stories.
But over time, stakeholder workshops, the interfaces we had, it began to look like something really serious. And we're quite excited about the work that has gone on, the process. I'm more about the process, okay, because that validates the outcome for me. And we're quite excited about what we've seen so far.
What about the dashboard in terms of the data and the visualizations you think you'll find most useful in your work?
Obviously, price data, whether it's at the point of import. Nigeria is not entirely self-sufficient in fertilizers. Maybe we are self-sufficient in some aspect, but generally we are not there yet. So we still rely on importation for some of the key raw materials that we will need. And so getting that data on what the cost is vis-a-vis what's going on around the ports, the different cost centers, in the port, and it will shock you that a lot of fertilizer players know about it, but then sometimes they take for granted how those cost centers interplay. So we're getting that kind of granular information as to what is happening at the ports, and how those numbers interface has been very interesting for us. It's very interesting for us. Then all the way through from the port, the logistics components, trucked all the way to the plants, the process, and all this stuff, where the plants are, where the distributors are, and all that, that interplays into what the final price will be. Those are the kind of things we're interested in. Because we've seen data on the crop vegetation or mapping output, and it's very helpful for blenders to plan. All right, we've always had in this country what we call command area blendings. The goal was set up blending plants in particular areas of the country that will focus on producing specific blends and what we call crop and area specific. So to break it down, you have the nutrient requirement of maize consistent, okay? But the soil status, the nutrient status differs from one agroecology to another in Nigeria. So those blending plants will focus on that command area. But you can't really do that when you don't have information. Like I said, it's rumors. No, everybody says in town X or this place X, they grow a lot of corn, and you get there and you set up a blending plant, very expensive, and then you find that the market is not there. It's somewhere X in Y, okay? You don't have that base information to plant. So it helps the blender, it helps the producer to be able to plant. And prices are some of the things we're interested in, and all the interplay that result in what the final price would be.
So I know you touched a little bit on this already, but I wanted to also know what you think the benefits of this dashboard and the visualizations on it are to your members.
Just a bit of history. The industry had been heavily focused on procurement or contracts, public tenders and all that. That had a net negative impact on the fertilizer industry as a whole, because there was no incentive to want to grow the industry. All right, so some guy in government has tenders, you come, you purchase your tenders, you import the fertilizers, and you're done with it, you make your money, wait till the next season. Now that had to change, okay? We had to, as a group, get our people to begin to look inwards, all right? Given some of the challenges we are having as a country in terms of public expenditure, we almost are a mono economy, rely on crude oil. Given the challenges we're having there, we have to look inward to see how do we develop ourselves to begin to be, quote unquote, self-reliant in producing the type of fertilizers that we need. Now, that roadmap meant that we're going to have to see how we incentivize members to invest in production plants. And today we're proud members that have invested heavily. That's a testament of their confidence in the space. Not only that, the sub-industry, which is the blending industry, has also invested in that. So these are major investments. Now, when you are investing in building a production or a manufacturing asset, you're not thinking short term, all right? You're thinking medium to long term. And for you to be able to be confident, all right, in the investment you're making, you need to have the right information. There's a lot of excitement now because the industry's focus has shifted very, very drastically, from a public procurement tendency, okay, to more of a market-driven approach, which for us is sustainable, which makes data, quality data, actually gold mine. Okay, that's the value for us, major value add that the dashboard brings. But we will need to have more. The markets are expanding. Okay, I'll give you an idea. When we've been validating the fertilizer statistics under the Fertilizer Technical Working Group now for the last 10, 11 years, and we've been capturing what we call apparent consumption, because obviously we don't have all the data to be able to calculate what consumption will be. And since we began this, investments in production and blending plants, we have moved to about 1.56 million tons. Right now, we are seeing a quantum leap also in the use of urea. Okay, this didn't come overnight, it didn't come by wish. It came because big companies, serious companies, invested in trying to grow this space, and that's how they've been trying to organically grow or get the information that they used to grow that market. So what you have right now It's just a working gold mine for anybody who is coming in, because that information is available. It just writes on it, just works in. And then for even some of the new blenders that we have now, there's a lot of uptick, there's a lot of excitement, that there's information that they can rely on. Don't forget, methodology for them is very important, because this is their business now. Because they went through the process with VIFAA, to see they can validate the kind of report they're having, and have confidence that anytime they click on the site, whatever they're getting to a large extent is reliable.
Is that something you learned from the dashboard that surprised you in terms of the data and the visualization, or maybe even validated some of the assumptions that you already had?
Yeah, all of the above. I really alluded to the cost centers, from when you import and the ports and all that. So I know about those, but I didn't know in that detail. Okay, seeing it, visualizing it, fantastic. Okay, it's very good to see where the production plants are, where the blending plants are, just on a click. All right. Further clicking, I hope to see where the distributors are. Okay, so that kind of information overlaid on where the market is, the production data around farming and all those stuff. Those things are really, 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 I can't emphasize it enough. Okay, all right. It's for us that are in the space, we know the value of what we're seeing, and I can tell you there's a lot of excitement. It's a very good way to start.
What new ways, if any, do you think that this dashboard is going to improve on collaboration between you and your members as a whole, and other partners even?
We have done some profiling of our members, okay? And we've seen gaps, okay, in terms of how they do business generally, that this data will help in making our case, okay? But I don't want to restrict just to our members. The problem we have today is that in Nigeria, we're not doing enough of evidence-based advocacy. And again, that's why I keep talking about methodology, right? What we are going to gather, or what we're getting from this, since when you saw the meeting we had yesterday, you saw the whole public-private sector interface. There's a lot of buying. So if we agree on this data, public and private sector, okay, as a base data that we can all work with, it helps us to make very strong evidence-based advocacy, and it helps us to make our case more strong. Because whether we like it or not, governments are always going to play a major role in the space. But with data, we can make a case how they intervene, how they play. One of the challenges we've had in the space is the interventions of government. They have created what we see as a crowding out effect of the private sector. Okay, I don't know if we have time to delve into that, but government has inadvertently, by virtue of how subsidies are administered, okay, discourage the private sector investing for that. So people would rather just import than set up production plants. Now, why the incentive to want to set up blending plants in the last couple of years, and you've seen the astronomical rise from maybe about 2-3 blending plants to almost 50 now, right? These are private sector funds. It's because the investing space is all right, okay? We did that by advocating to government. We think we will do better if we have a base set of information that government buys in, private sector buys in, and we can speak to those to whatever issues that we are raising based on that evidence. So not just to our members, there's value for us in our interface outside. Don't forget we are an advocacy based group, okay, to advocate the issues that could be a cog or in the wheel of movement for the fertilizer industry.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much.